So first of all, it's great to be here on day 4 to sort of wrap up this great international, global, I should say, global conference. I'm going to be talking to you about facilitating meetings with an agile mindset. And I want you guys just to have fun during the session. Over the past 4 days, we heard I think a lot of great sessions, a lot of great speakers, some very technical, some more emotional. It covered a wide range of items. I had to actually Google a few terms I heard every single day. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that you all should be well experienced, and that is how to best manage meetings. So I have about 20 minutes. I tend to talk a lot longer than 20 minutes, so I'm going to try to do my best and stay within time. So we're all aware of the impacts of meetings in the workforce. Meetings either help or they make no difference whatsoever. You see here the overall cost in time and in money of meetings, which is why it's very important that meetings are very, very, very productive. We know that one of the keys to what I call organizational agility or being responsive is the ability to course correct very quickly. When we talk about facilitating meetings in an agile mindset, what does that really mean? Or having an agility mindset? Well, a couple of things. We want to make sure that we are increasing, adding to employee morale and productivity. We know that the higher energy somebody has, the more productive they are. We also know that the ability to collaborate and have a diversity of ideas is great. If you have a diverse workforce but no collaboration, you're not going to reach the promised land. And then finally, I think this is key when we talk about agile and agility, the ability to very quickly adapt to changing circumstances. We want to be able to really help ourselves get to the productive meetings and the goal of the meeting. Now, I need all of you to really take off your hats. You guys are trainers, you're professionals, you're some developers. Take off all your hats. The context of this meeting is one thing, the role of a facilitator. So please put your facilitator hat on. If you are not a facilitator, just open your glass, right? We're gonna pour some good stuff in here, but you need to come at this from the viewpoint of you are a facilitator. So let's get some common understanding. Most of us know what trainers do. The responsibility of a trainer is to really ensure participants go through and achieve some sort of learning objective. It can be informational, it could also be more instructional. But the goal of a trainer is to make sure some sort of learning takes place. For facilitators, it's different. Facilitators' goal is to help the participants reach the goal of that meeting. That could be, for example, if we're trying to arrive at a decision, if we're trying to develop an action plan or solve a conflict. The role of facilitator is to take you from the beginning to the end of the meeting, having reached the goal. We don't really worry about the context of what takes place. We want to help make sure we're meeting the goals of that meeting. Now, I'm going to say a few things that may be controversial, not in, oh my gosh, front page controversial, but when I said this in other times I've given presentation, I've gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of debate on this. So, and I'm going to ask the question in the QA, we can go deeper into it. But whose responsibility, or is it the responsibility of the facilitator that we reach the goals of the meeting? My answer, 100% yes. The facilitator's main responsibility is to make sure the goals and objectives of the meeting are met. Now, some people say, well, it's the team members who are in the responsibility. No, it's not true. If the meeting has no facilitator, then I agree. The team must reach the goal. But if you are there as a facilitator, that is why you're there, to help the team reach the goal. It's also important to realize if you are a facilitator, you're not there as a subject matter expert. You're not there as a developer. You're not there in any other role but to facilitate. need to be very, very clear on that. So again, and I want to talk about this at the end. Whose responsibility is it? Or is it the facilitator's responsibility to ensure the goals and objectives of the meeting are met? I say yes, but I want to hear your ideas later. So we're clear on what a facilitator does. Let's talk about the Agile mindset. The Agile mindset is very clear. We want to make sure that we are applying our problem-solving skills to quickly adapt and reach the goal. And some folks have no idea why you need problem-solving skills to really facilitate and manage a meeting. We're going to go through those things. So Agile mindset, really looking at opportunities of failure as ways to do what? Get better problem-solving skills and do a deeper set of learning. And finally, Agile meeting facilitators. They break the meeting into smaller pieces, time box them, and ensure that we're getting through these in such that we can have a productive meeting and reach our goals. I think all of you guys, and please put your hands up if you've ever been in a meeting that's been unproductive and you never reached the goal. Okay, I see hands. I see hands. I see a lot of hands up. Thank you. I think we've all been in these meetings, and quite frankly, thank you for turning the camera on and putting hands up. Quite frankly, I think one of the most frustrating things team members experience are unproductive meetings. But today we're going to talk about some key activities that we can do to avoid this. Now, last week when I talked with our facilitators today, Mark and Stefan, we had a question. What is it? What's the biggest pain point people are feeling today with meetings? If you go back 2 years, it's a totally different set of pain points people are experiencing. So our goal was to identify 2 themes. Well, the first one, people. People being prepared, and how do we keep them tuned into the meeting? And then how do we manage and quickly adapt to technical glitches, which we all know exist, especially over this last year. So we're going to go through 5 scenarios, and we're going to do this rather quickly. First, I'll take you through 3 scenarios that deal with the people side, the technical side. Now, in my regular presentations, this is where we would do a group exercise. We're not going to do that, but I will give you at the end of that 3rd scenario, I will give you my input on what I think the facilitator must do to help the team get back on track. So feel free as we go through these. If you've experienced these, feel free to put your hand up or do the applause GUI. So the first one is when we're in meetings and we lose perspective. This is from going from the big picture down into the weeds and really falling down one rabbit hole, one rabbit hole, one rabbit hole. I'll give you an example. Having a discussion about how a system is not communicating with another system. Well, the discussion started out with, well, system A and system B aren't integrating correctly, but now 10 minutes later, we're talking about the architects of both systems and which one's more reliable. We've gone so far away from the topic that we've lost the attention of everybody except the 2 or 3 people who are talking about that. Now, this has happened a lot, where we get so far off topic, we've lost total perspective of the meeting. I'll tell you how we get past this. But first, I want to talk about the other one, lost context. So lost context is the topic that we've delved into. It's important, but however, it's irrelevant for the current conversation. And these ones tend to happen often because this is where what I would call emotion gets involved. For example, we're talking about the issue that reports aren't being submitted on time. Every single month, these reports are coming in late. Explain to us why this is happening. Okay, instead of talking about the challenges in the format or structure of the report, we say, well, you know what? So-and-so left the team last month. And you know, because the company has frozen hiring, we can't replace them. So now I'm doing the job of 2 people and I have no support. And oh, by the way, if I was the president of this company, they still get the bonuses. They get the bonuses, doing all this stuff. But you know what? They're not hiring people. So what can we do? So now we've totally lost context. We're talking about the president of the company. We're talking about the fact of the hiring freeze and how the company's changed over the last 10. I've been here 10 years and we were, we had the old CEO. It's so different. And we've just lost total context when all we want to know is how can we get these reports in on time? And both of these scenarios, lost perspective, lost context. They both result in the same thing. Yep, lost time, lost time, lost time. This one is near and dear to my heart because I really used to have a problem with meetings that started late and ran long. But sometimes there are meetings that aren't managed correctly. What happens is we have these 4 topics to talk about. We have 90 minutes. We are 45 minutes in and we're still on the first topic. Poof, time is almost gone. So these 3 items, lost perspective, lost context, and lost time. These are all what I would say on the attendee side. And as facilitators, we must be able to to ensure that we get these meetings back on track. Now, as facilitators, I'm going to ask Mark and Stefan after this, their idea of this. As facilitators, one thing we must be is we must be effing bold. We must be bold. I'll tell you why. Again, the assumption is it's our responsibility to make sure the meeting reaches the goal. We're not there in any other role. We're only there as a...
I'm going to be bold and tell you the screen's gone off.
Exactly.
Oh, that's planned. It's okay. That's planned. Okay. that's by design. That's by design. Thank you, though. Thank you. So, and as you guys just did, right? You must be bold because the first thing a facilitator must do when the meeting is going off track, you must quickly step in. Quickly step in. In Agile, we say you must call out bad behavior. Your team must have the trust. Your team must be empowered for people to feel comfortable to quickly call out bad behavior. So as a facilitator, to get the meeting back on track, overall, you must be bold. But the first thing you must do, quickly step in and address the behavior. After you step in, you must do what you can to get the meeting back on track. Now, this is the interesting part because you must do this, it's the third piece, without embarrassing or isolating anybody. A lot of times there are people who want to go deep and if they get interrupted, they'll have an attitude. That's the wrong place for you to turn somebody into an antagonist. So quickly step in, get back on track, and don't embarrass or isolate anybody. Now, getting back on track is interesting because one way of getting as a facilitator, and we kind of want to be, I want to say soft, we want to have some empathy. You want to sort of put it out there as a suggestion. Hey guys, we're off track. This is a very important topic. However, I think we should get back on track. What do you guys think? That's a very easy way of doing it. But be careful because they might say, nah, we don't think so. This is important. We want to talk about it. Then what do? As a facilitator, you must be able to read the room. You must be able to read the room. If you have some people who are very strong-willed, you have to be bold and say, guys, very important, very important. Let's table this for now, and we'll get back to it later. Okay, and then put the meeting back on track. But you're not doing that as a suggestion or a question. You're doing it, and that's why you are there. So you must be bold. Step in quickly, get the meeting back on track, and make sure you're not embarrassing or calling anybody out. Because trust me, the last thing you want is to go down that road. Okay, so we talked about the three challenges that are based on the human side, people being prepared or not being prepared. We now know that we also must, especially in 2021, facilitators are now required to have a totally new set of problem-solving skills. And remember, as facilitators, we must solve problems on the fly as they come up. This has really increased due to the use of, you got it, online meetings, online meetings. This has brought so much frustration, not just to facilitators, but to managers. Yes. We good?
5-minute call.
Oh, 5 minutes. Okay. To managers, to teachers. A lot of people have had a tough time really managing Zoom. So we want to talk about what we can do to really ensure that we have a smooth transition into this lifestyle. And we're already there. So many people are already using these tools. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about are the technical glitches. Now this one, sometimes it's really out of control for facilitators to handle before the fact. But knowing how to handle these and being ready for these include such things as not sufficient bandwidth, the browser is bad, the sound is lagging, screen sharing is not working. All of these things, bad passwords, download required. As facilitators, we must know what to do when any of these things happen. And you know, it's hard to host a session and resolve the issues at the same time in the chat box. But again, there are things that facilitating with an agile mindset, how do we quickly resolve this and keep going? All right.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Colin.
And I think he's doing it on purpose.
Absolutely. I want to hammer that home there, right? People are on mute and they just don't know how to get off mute, right? It is a very common thing. And we want to try to find ways of avoiding that from actually happening. Wait a second. Is somebody in the bathroom? You guys hear that? Unexpected toilet flush, okay? That's happened, I want to say, at least 4 times in the past 3 months on meetings I've been on. And the funny thing about the toilet flush is you never hear the person using the bathroom. You just hear them flushing the toilet, right? And my question is, why do you have your device in the bathroom? Anyway, let me digress. So, participants multitasking, team members not paying attention. And of course, the background, family members joining in the background. Again, these are what we call user issues because these absolutely can be avoided. Zoom fatigue is real. Zoom fatigue is real. Should we schedule our next Zoom meeting or just hit ourselves repeatedly in the head with a hammer? I experienced Zoom fatigue back in August. I'm a member of Toastmasters and we had meetings twice a week because now I can do global meetings. And I was just so tired of Zoom. I did not want to log on. Zoom fatigue is real. And as facilitators, you must know how to support and have empathy for people who may be on their 3rd or 4th Zoom meeting that day, right? You have to know how to have empathy for those people as well. So now we want to go to some solutions. Really quickly, 3 things to really help us facilitate these meetings better. First of all, utilize visual tools. Now you can use tools such as Trello, Murally, and these things can be used to really ensure you're getting participation during the meeting. We want collaboration, and collaboration is an awake and present activity, meaning you have to be there, you have to be engaged to get collaboration. As facilitators, we know how to get people collaborated verbally, but now we have tools that help us actually make sure it's happening, even using online tools. Second one is implement time management best practices. This by far, I think, is one of the most important attributes of a good facilitator. You want to make sure, I got it. You want to make sure that we start on time. You want to time box items. If you're going over, you want to find a simple way to get agreement. And this is the five to fifth is a great way to do it. Shall we go? Shall we stay? Right? Quickly gain agreement and a strong and on time finish. It is so important that you start on time, finish on time, and you actually reach the goals and desired outcome of that meeting. And then finally, you want to make sure that you have an online meeting routine that you're using every single time. Send out an agenda early, state your purpose and the outcome. If anybody wants to add anything, you can always edit it, but send it out early to get feedback and make sure they understand what the expected outcome is. Secondly, set up a test login and trial session a few days early so people can come in and test out the platform. Prepare your space, your background. I have my son is about 18 months old, and it's totally different from now and a year ago. Now, I almost lock my door. You guys remember Robert Kelly, BBC? Very famous guy. His kids saw him on TV, ran into the room. Now, he became an overnight sensation, but in real life, it's not fun, okay? So understand your environment, lock your doors, do what you have to do. Also, recommend to people have their cameras on. To be engaged, to read the audience, you want to see their face. Let's be honest, look at this, right? This is so true. If my camera is not on, you don't want to see me, trust me. When people are engaged, when people are being looked at, they will contribute more. So you also make sure people have their cameras on. And finally, you absolutely want to randomly ask people for their input. One trick that I use, and I've seen folks use it this week, if we see people's names on a screen or a picture, they're the first people I go to when I have a question, because I want them to be engaged. So use these tips to really help keep people engaged, because the more people who engage, more ideas you get, and the better you're going to reach the desired outcome and the goals of your meeting. Okay, so you have these tips on how to facilitate with and using an agile mindset. Here is some contact information. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. And I want to say to all of you guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've had a great time joining this as a speaker, and I look forward to the question and answer session. So facilitators, I pass it back over to you.